an engineer who likes things to be done his way decides to take his own life after a tragedy leaves him alone and jobless. Tom Hanks is widely considered to be one of the nicest guys in Hollywood, and is also considered to be one of the greatest and most relatable actors around. It was nice to see him finally play a grumpy curmudgeon for once. The first scene opens with Hanks, who plays Otto Anderson, trying to buy some rope. Much like Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec, Otto lets the young man working in the store know that he doesn't need any help and he knows more than the store clerk. He then gets into an argument with the same clerk who tries to overcharge him for rope. I am firmly on Otto's side here because I also have a hard time letting things go just because of the principle of the thing. As an example, I once used an ATM that wasn't my bank's ATM, and the bank whose ATM it was charged me a $3 processing fee. But then my bank decided to charge another $2 processing fee on top of that. Now, the payment would have had no processing fee had I used my bank's ATM. I spent 30 minutes on the phone arguing to get those $2 back, not because I needed $2, but because it was the principle that they were charging an erroneous fee. Anyway, Otto eventually gets to be a little bit too much of a stickler even for me. He knows how to do everything, and anyone who does it differently than him is immediately an idiot. But Otto is also a good man. Even if he complains and groans, he does help everyone around him constantly. Now, throughout the movie, Otto keeps trying to do something, and each time he tries to do it, he's interrupted, almost divinely so. He lives in a small community, and each time he tries, he is interrupted by neighbors. He lives in a small community of condos, and all of his neighbors seem to love him and rely on him to do pretty much everything. And they're always nice to him, and he is never nice to them in return. The fact that he's so mean to them and they still want to be his friend, that and the over-to-the-top personalities of a couple of the neighbors are the most unbelievable parts of this movie to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I liked all of the neighbors, but if I were neighbors with Otto, I think I'd have quit trying to be his friend pretty quickly based on how he treats them all. And while Tom Hanks isn't nearly as crotchety, and this movie is much more family friendly, with 99.99999% less racial slurs, this movie reminds me a lot of Clint Eastwood's Gran Torino. As A Man Called Otto goes along, we find out why he is the way that he is. And I have to say that if I were in his same shoes, I probably would have been just as mad or even madder than him. Someone with a perfectionist personality who is an engineer knows how the world works, and when something completely random out of his control changes the course of his life, it is hard to cope with it. No matter how smart and talented of an engineer he is, sometimes there are things that happen for no reason, and it just isn't fair. He knows this, but it doesn't make it any easier to deal with. As the audience, we feel that maybe he is meant for more in life. And based on some coincidences that interrupt him on multiple occasions until he does what he is meant to do, it sure seems as if there's a bit of divine intervention that a man with a practical mind just isn't capable of seeing. And the flashbacks, Otto is played by Tom Hanks' real-life son. I love when movies do stuff like that. There's also a really cute cat in the movie, and my biggest complaint is that the cat wasn't in the movie nearly enough. A Man Called Otto is a heartwarming tearjerker with a great Tom Hanks performance. This is one of those films that may not be a total home run, but it's a solid double. Now, I don't know if everyone is going to love it, but I can't imagine anyone hating it. Annoying neighbors, falling in love on a train, hospital clowns, receiving a family portrait drawn by a child, shoveling snow from sidewalks, yelling at someone who can't parallel park, a cute cat in a box.